Let's start with what you plan to look like at the interview. A lot of people don't appreciate how much a good camera can add to how they look and come across at an online interview. You want the interviewer to be able to see you as if you're sitting across the table from them. Many cameras on laptops don't have a good enough resolution to provide the best possible picture for an online interview. Check how well your camera works. An external camera, like this Logitech one, is not expensive to purchase. You may even be able to borrow one. Lighting can be a challenge. There are lots of YouTube videos offering all sorts of advice on how to set up. There's no need to go overboard, but comply with fundamental rules such as arranging that bright lights are behind the camera and not behind you. Small ring lights are inexpensive. This one cost me €12. And they're really great at highlighting your face with a soft glow if properly set up. You need to decide on what kind of background you reckon will work best for you. Some people use facilities that Team and Zoom provide, such as computer-generated background images or blurring. My advice is to approach these facilities with caution. If your camera isn't great, the outline of your head and the top of your body may continually distort during the interview. Now, let's move on to organizing what you will sound like and what you will hear at interview. You need to ensure that you sound good at the other end of the broadcast. You may have different microphone options, especially if you're using an external camera. Experiment by changing between microphones that you have available to identify which one works best. Also test speakers that you have available and make sure that they're working well. Some people choose to use headphones, and that's fine. It is certainly a good idea to have a set of headphones with built-in mic available. They can provide a useful alternative option should audio problems unexpectedly arise. Make sure that invasive noises such as barking dogs, ringing telephones, doorbells won't cause problems during your interview. Let's move on to location, broadband, and other facilities. You need a quiet location that has good broadband connection that is stable. So organized that you can use your mobile telephone hotspot if this becomes suddenly necessary. You need to be familiar with whatever meeting software is being used. If there are differences even between how Zoom and Teams function, inquire from the employer about what software they will be using and download this onto your PC and practice using it in advance. Finally, let's move on to preparing answers to likely questions and to rehearsing. Online interviews require more succinct answers. In preparation, you should consider questions that you're likely to be asked and distill what you plan to say down to about 70% of what you say in an in-person interview. In preparing for an online interview, be guided by how people communicate on TV and radio news programs. Sound bites work well, and you should avoid complicated explanations. As with all interviews, you would do no better preparation than mock interviews and other forms of rehearsals. However, in preparing for an online interview, make sure that a good proportion of your rehearsal is done online. That's the end of this video. There is a second video available on online interviews called Online Interviews 2 that covers the interview itself. And this video is available on the website interviewer.ie. And please remember, how you do an interview depends on how you prepare for interview.